And these people are really, really losing their minds. They have lost their minds and they have run out of options. They have hit levels of desperation you want to see no man hit. And that is because Todd Monken is locked in with Shedeur Sanders and 100% down for him to win this quarterback competition with a fair opportunity. We got to get into it. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel, hit that bell notification, hype the video. That'd be greatly appreciated as always. We've got to get into things, man. People have hit levels of desperation in the local Cleveland media. The anybody but Shedeur Mafia, they have stooped to lows that we couldn't fathom. All because two is about to get his shot. Take a look at this, man. Former scout doubles down on brutal Shedeur Sanders claim. Okay. And basically in this whole thing, this is the quote. Shedeur Sanders does not have any trade value in the NFL, Kelly posted. Okay. So, people stoop to new lows talking about first they wanted, hey, we'll take Brendan Sorsby and his gambling product. Oh, before that, we'll take Malik Willis, Kyler Murray, Kirk Cousins. None of these people showed up. None of these people were in the cards. Oh, we'll take Ty Simpson out of Alabama. He's not here. They have stooped to lows to the point where the last hope was, oh, well, Shedeur Sanders, man, teams are calling, man. Shedeur Sanders you might be able to get something for him trade-wise. But now they're saying, oh, he has no value around the league, blah, blah, blah. Point is, you're stuck with him, okay? He ain't getting traded nowhere. They're going to give him a shot. You need to get over it, okay? And now they're trying to take shots and, concurrent with that, Sanders mentioning trade rumors. If true, that should make the opinion of him around the league more apparent. With that in mind, former NFL scout Dan Kelly is sending a clear message about Sanders, saying the Browns will be very lucky to get anything in return for him. Okay, so he's basically trying to diminish him and down his value once again. But it is what it is, man. Shedeur Sanders is going to be here to stay. Y'all just going to have to deal with it. Now, they spoke about this whole situation on 92.3 The Fan Afternoon Drive. And at the end of the day, people are just mad that anybody but Shedeur Mafia are pissed about the fact that they are going to have to deal with Shedeur Sanders at least for another season.
All last week, it felt like everyone was going down the road of trying to get rid of him or trying to trade him in some sort of way. And Spencer, I just don't see it. I don't see there being enough value there if we're going to do that to begin with anyway. And I see it higher for the Browns to keep a quarterback on this roster where he's in one of the few spots. If you worry about a backup quarterback being a distraction, I don't care about Deshaun Watson and whether or not he has a distraction. Sorry, Deshaun, you haven't warranted any sort of play in a Browns uniform that makes me concerned about whether or not, you're worried about whatever perceived circus, quote unquote, would end up being here.
Didn't the Browns already do that anyway with Deshaun? Like, didn't they already cater to Deshaun when they didn't bring back Joe Flacco the first time after 2023 because they knew that fans would be clamoring for Flacco because nobody liked Deshaun Watson?
And I'm done catering to Deshaun Watson.
Well, at this point in the Deshaun contract, the Deshaun situation, who really cares?
And that's even playing with the idea that he's like the guaranteed starter, which I don't even think is true right now.
Right. Well, and that's the big thing for me because, first of all, I don't think it makes any sense to trade Shedeur. Maybe when we get to the end of training camp, if he's not named the starter, because at that point, all bets are off with Andrew Berry. Andrew Berry is the last couple years, his whole thing has been you get to the end of training camp and you're flipping a quarterback
all right,
for
so
something.
Let's play that for a second, though, okay? All right, so you trade Shedeur Sanders for a fourth-round pick or third-round pick even, if he even can even get that. I don't even know that he can.
I don't think he can. But
I don't think so either. So anyway, you trade him for that, and in the process of it, you're what, going to start Dylan Gabriel when it goes south for Deshaun Watson?
Right. Well, that's the thing. That's the reason it doesn't make any sense to me because if you're trying to sell this fan base on anything in terms of like excitement level around this team. Yes, you have like the young rookie class, young team, and Jared Verse is like this nice new piece that obviously Myles Garrett isn't here anymore, but that you can at least like get people excited about the potential of all these guys. And that's one thing. But we all know the quarterback sells in this league. And if you're trying to invoke any sort of excitement around your quarterback position, you can't go into the season with it being Deshaun Watson.
Who we know is not going to work. And people are like, oh, you can't say that. I can definitely say that.
Yeah.
I've watched way too much Deshaun Watson football to ever think it's going to work.
Well, and who, I don't want to say universally, because I guess there are still some sects of the fan base that maybe still are holding out hope that Deshaun Watson can be something very small sex, but I would say mostly universally not a fan. The fans aren't really a fan of Deshaun Watson, so I think that doesn't help.
Just strictly on football.
Right.
He hasn't done anything in the time that he's been here, and he gets injured too often. Who would possibly make that bet?
Right, and that's the thing. Like, if that's what you're trying to sell the fan base is, hey, we got Deshaun Watson for this season to see how it goes, and then we're going to pivot to Dylan Gabriel. I just don't think that sells to anybody. I also think if you have a quarterback asset that you at least are curious about to see what it's going to be, why would you just give that up when you have a year kind of gap to figure out if this guy can be anything before you then have to answer that question permanently in 2027? Like,
exactly.
It just doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it doesn't. It's stupid is what it is. Sorry to your son listening. But like it's patently dumb. It makes no sense. And it isn't even necessarily about exciting the fan base. It's more about even what you do to the locker room in this instance. So you're basically telling everyone you have no plan B. There's zero plan B. If you trade Shedeur Sanders, your plan B is what? Deshaun didn't work out, and so we're going to spend the rest of the season just sucking up the joint because we're playing for draft position. Which, again, I have no problem that if you commit yourself to Deshaun and he stinks, and then all of a sudden you want to go for Arch Manning, and that's your big grand plan, and you think, is there a way, Spencer, they just think Shedeur Sanders would get in the way of that? Is it in a weird twist? Would Andrew Berry just think that he wins too many games? Yeah, because even in
I don't think so.
I mean, even in an awful Browns year last year, he still went 3-4. They still won games with Shedeur at quarterback. You can say Shedeur wasn't the reason why they won those games. They still won games. Like something would be getting in the way if they traded Shedeur in a weird twist. I actually think it's because they believed he'd be too good in that spot in the backup role, where if you have to get to the backup, then we might as well just be playing for draft position already as is. And maybe I took that to like 7 layers deeper than anyone wanted me to.
Yeah, I think that's a little too deep.
But I'm reaching here, people, for a reason, because none of it makes sense on the surface.
If they traded Shedeur, it would literally just come down to them getting increased value on what they used on him. And that's the thing. To me, I'm sure Andrew Berry would make this trade if it was offered. If somebody offered a 4th-round pick, he might just be like, yeah, sure, give me a 3rd, 4th-round pick for 2027. I'll take it. But I would think, like, if anything that's a day 2 pick or earlier, absolutely you're making that trade. Because then you took a player that was a 5th-round pick and you turned it into some asset that actually could get you a tangible player that could start for you at some point in the future. So I think that would 100% happen if you were offered that, but I just don't think teams are offering that. And so I don't think it's as deep as you took it. I think it would just come down to if they traded Shedeur, it would probably be because they felt the value that they were getting back in return was worthwhile to them. But it still just doesn't make sense to me to even make that trade when you get to the end of training camp if he doesn't win the job. Yeah. To answer your overall question, I think it's absolutely more in the realm of possibility that Shedeur Sanders can start for this team going into the next season rather than get traded. And the biggest reason for that is what we've already said about the other guy he's going against. Neither of us have any faith whatsoever that Deshaun Watson is going to be a viable quarterback option for the Cleveland Browns for an extended period of time. He might have a game sprinkled in there where he looks like some older version of himself for a half or whatever it is, but he's never going to be that guy again. And if none of us have faith in that, then, and that's the thing, this quarterback competition might not even come down to Shedeur doing anything remotely exceptional. Like, he might not go out there and just like ball out every day at training camp practice. There might be some good days and some bad days. But if he wins the job, it's going to probably be because Deshaun Watson doesn't look good at